the biggest WrestleMania ever. Bullshit. Oh, I'm holding all of you personally responsible for the following video. I'm John Rant with the Retro Review, WWE WrestleMania 27 at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia. What a goddamn misfire. This was a miserable experience. So yeah, let's talk about the show. This wasn't very good. I don't know if that came across in that little bit of an intro where I just basically screamed and probably shattered everybody's eardrums, but yes, widely regarded as one of the worst WrestleManias, if not the worst WrestleMania of modern times. Does it beat WrestleMania 9? No. No, WrestleMania 27 still isn't as bad as WrestleMania 9, because WrestleMania 9 set the goddamn company back. 2011 was already not off to the best goddamn start with as far as WWE programming goes. And then you had other stuff going on in the wrestling world, at least in the U.S., where Impact had just recently had Jeff Hardy show up in absolutely no condition to wrestle to face off against Sting, who turned down a WWE contract offer. It was supposed to be Sting and Undertaker at WrestleMania 27, possibly, maybe. And did he do that? No. He went back to Impact. Granted, he got paid a lot of money for little dates, but we got Joker Sting out of it. Speaking of jokers, this goddamn event was full of jokers and bullshit and everything, and Vince McMahon should have been brought up on goddamn war crime charges for this. This was an abomination of a WrestleMania. They had some matches cut way short, and then they gave nearly 30 minutes to one of, if not the worst WrestleMania match of all time. Again, I'm holding all you fuckers personally responsible for this. That being said, I give the viewers what they want. You know what? Maybe I just remembered this being one of the worst WrestleManias ever, and the worst WrestleMania of modern times. I can't even goddamn speak. No, I didn't misremember, or misremember as it were. This is still bad. The sad thing is, Miz wasn't even at fault for this. This Mania was fucking doomed well before we got to the main event. But yes, the Georgia Dome, nearly 72,000 fans. It had over 1 million people that bought it. It was also, besides WrestleMania 29, which if I had time I'd retro review that just to punish myself more. It was one of the most bought WrestleManias. And the people that bought it, myself included, because this is before they went to the WWE Network and now the Cock, and then who knows what they're going to go to in the future, widely regarded as not the biggest WrestleMania, maybe the biggest WrestleMania misfire. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of jokes here. Sheamus and Daniel Bryan got pushed to the pre-show. A U.S. title lumberjack match. It ended in about 4 minutes because all the lumberjacks got in and did all this stuff, and then they went to a battle royal that the Great Khali won. The Great Khali won a match on a WWE event in 2011. When Great Khali, maybe by 2008, couldn't even goddamn move. Khali in New Japan was interesting, though. But enough about Khali in New Japan. Let's talk about this show. Who is Carrie Hilson? Genuine question. I don't know who that is. She did a fine rendition of America the Beautiful. She's not a bad singer. I don't know who the fuck she is. They say Atlanta's own. Probably explains why I don't know who the fuck she is. Video package on The Rock, the host of WrestleMania, and all the celebrity stuff and whatever and all that. And Rock comes out in his own Rock jumpsuit, tracksuit thing, gets a big pop. Georgia Dome holds a noise. That's one thing about Georgia Dome, as far as wrestling history and everything. You think Goldberg beating Hogan, the finger poke of doom. Sure, some WWE events there. I'm struggling to remember some big WWE pay-per-view events. Help me. I've gone blank. This pay-per-view broke me. And then he praises the fans, knocks John Cena because they're building Cena versus Rock already. They started building that on the first night that Rock came back, February 14, 2011. Big old pop. So they built this for about 14 goddamn months. And that's the big thing about this particular Mania. It felt like a pay-per-view edition of Raw, just with all the glitz and glamour. They sacrificed so many things on this show And they sacrificed the main event of their show of shows, the granddaddy of them all, to hype up next year's WrestleMania, which is why 2011, even though Extreme Rules 2011 was pretty good, Over the Limit 2011 wasn't very good. I know, I was there, it was shit. And then other 2011, well, SummerSlam 2011, they were doing some good pay-per-views. The television, less so. But then we had Survivor Series with Rock and Cena against Awesome Truth. R-Truth and Miz. Or Miz and R-Truth, however you want to say that. And then it just limped to Mania 28, where they did deliver a hell of a goddamn buy rate. I believe that was the most bought WrestleMania of all time. Most bought pay-per-view in WWE history. But Rock then, he gets a Fruity Pebbles chant. The people's water because he's thirsty. Yabba, dabba, yabba, dabba. We get it, we get it. The Rock shtick at this point was kind of getting tired. Cena was getting tired by this point, too. The fans were getting tired because this went on forever. Listen to the Stars plays, and we go to Pyro, and we're almost 17 minutes into the goddamn program. 17 minutes into a 4-hour pay-per-view event. Michael Cole, heel Michael Cole, by the way. See, that's another reason why this particular pay-per-view and why 2011 was regarded as so goddamn shitty. Because heel Michael Cole existed. And, I mean, honestly, Michael Cole has been a terrible commentator for years. I mean, I would argue around 2006 is when he really lost any of the good that he ever had. Him and Taz were actually a pretty good duo. They were, but this heel Michael Cole stuff, and yes, does he get unnecessary criticism? Sure. Am I guilty of giving him unnecessary criticism? I don't think it's unnecessary. I think he's terrible at his goddamn job, and he should go home and be a family man, as Guile once said, or the text once said, as far and insert fighter here from Street Fighter, Street Fighter, Hadouken and Suruken. Hey, Street Fighter, Street Fighter. Does anybody know that song that I twisted and put Street Fighter in instead of another fighter thing? If you do, please tell me in the comments. So yeah, heel Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler. Don't worry, I'll get to them later. And Josh fucking Matthews is on commentary. Josh Matthews, widely regarded as one of the biggest blisters, burst blisters, on the foot of wrestling in years. And the fact that he has reproduced is very, very frightening. He was never really any good as a commentator. He flamed out as a wrestler, but you know what? Not everybody's cut out to be a wrestler. He was backstage interviewer, commentator. Then he went to Impact. And maybe he still works there. Maybe he works in the backstage capacity. I don't really give a good goddamn shit. Guy was terrible. Ricardo Rodriguez introduces Del Rio, who comes out in a Bentley. Remember when they kept trying to push Del Rio like crazy? And Del Rio, look, let's put personal things aside, even though I can mention numerous things about Del Rio. He wasn't as good as his other famous family member, you know. I mean, just look up Del Rio and look up relatives, and you'll understand who I'm talking about. He also had a very high ego, much like that other family member. And Del Rio's technically sound in the ring, but they were cheering for him here, but it wasn't working. Like, they could have gone with him here. It kind of makes sense why they didn't, given the events that happened a little bit later. But, whew, Edge comes out and, gets a big pop, comes out with Christian, who could have been wrestling, but now they need to have him in the corner of Edge. Because they're friends, not brothers. Cole mentioning how Del Rio has workers on his ranch. I'm just going to let that simmer right there. Edge with Christian versus Del Rio with Brodus Clay and Ricardo Rodriguez. Yes, future NWA champion, Brodus Clay. Further proof that even though there are great people in the NWA is not watched by all that many goddamn people because they made Brodus fucking Clay, Tyrus, their world champion. If you have no other options, they're still better than Tyrus as a world champion. So anyway, World Heavyweight Championship match. This is also regarded as Edge's last big match before his retirement. He was involved in another match, I believe a dark match, but really hurt his neck and had to retire, relinquish the championship shortly after this. Del Rio won the 40-man Rumble, and this was Brodus' best usage because we didn't have to watch him wrestle. Because bear in mind, he was in his late 30s by this point. He was released from WWE when he was 40, or close to it. So, the crowd chanted for Del Rio. This match wasn't awful. It just didn't click. It didn't really get out of second gear, but, because of Edge's injury. and subsequent upcoming retirement, it gives you a little bit more of a fresh perspective on this. Del Rio did focus on the arm, got the cross arm breaker, his finish, but Edge ended up eventually hitting a spear, 1, 2, 3. Then the post-match saw Edge and Christian destroy the Bentley while Cole was calling for them to be arrested. Michael Cole needed to be arrested for impersonating a human being by this point. Don't worry, I am going to absolutely rip Michael Cole apart. A little bit later, heel Cole was in his box. It's too bad they didn't, put a little, just pump a little bit of something in there. Just a little sleeping agent to put him to sleep, but wake him up after the event's over, because believe me, that's another reason why this show was so abysmal. The heel commentary. Good goddamn grief. I strained myself so much, getting stressed out. So anyway, Rey Mysterio dressed as Captain America against disfigured Cody Rhodes, the masked Cody Rhodes. When he got his nose busted and everything, or maybe legit did. I don't actually remember what the hell it was, because it's been a long time. It's actually only been 12 years, but it feels like a long time. It's weird to think about where their careers would go from here. Rey would end up becoming WWE champion for all of 90 minutes a little bit later on in the year and lost it. You know what? Since he didn't get his son out of the ring and prevent his son from being a goddamn plague on the wrestling program currently, I'm glad Rey only held the championship for 90 goddamn minutes. Should have been 9 minutes. So you should have come out right afterwards and squashed him and done that and stepped on him and held it over his head. Rey is one of the greatest luchadors of all time and made a mistake not preventing his son from getting involved in wrestling. That's my dumping on Dominic for the minute. So, Rey had his knee brace on because he had surgery 5 times in his left knee, and Cody was all pissed because of, Cody was all pissed because he, got his face busted up, and he was like this, like, no! So then he ended up, using his mask at a couple points. Rey put on the mask and headbutted Cody Rhodes a few times. Rey's knee brace eventually ended up coming off. There were Cody chants. And then Cody used brace to face and then hit the crossroads 1, 2, 3. There you go. So far, basic show that doesn't really feel like a Mania. But, good for them getting Cody a win, and then him and Rey would continue to have their feud. I think they had a Falls Count Anywhere match at Extreme Rules 2011. Then the entrances for the following match took 3.5 minutes. It's the Core: Ezekiel Jackson, Wade Barrett, Slater, and Justin Gabriel. Pretty scary how Slater, I think, ended up having the most remarkable career out of anybody here. I mean, yes, Wade Barrett was a multi-time Intercontinental Champion, and hands up if you remember any of his reigns as Intercontinental Champion. That's not knocking Wade, but he was always getting injured or always getting creatively stifled. The bad news was this match was actually given a pay-per-view slot, because we had Show, Kane, Kofi, and Santino in an 8-man tag. Kozlov was supposed to be in there, but I think Kofi subbed for him. Or something. I don't quite remember. I don't think Kozlov was with the company much longer after this. This match was over in 90 seconds. The bodies were bodies strewn everywhere. Just like the Atlanta Pete. Nope. Move on. KO punch to Slater. 1, 2, 3. It's like downtown Atlanta all over again. Moving on. I did laugh at the young lady at the time. I mean, well, I'm sure she looked younger than me, so she's still young. But she was the one that was in the lime green tank top in the front row. If you're looking, she was on the right, and she was all confused, like, what the fuck? Why is it over already? And I think she was actually there in the front row for WrestleMania 28, if I recall correctly. Very pretty woman. So, walking down the street, pretty woman in the lime green tank top, pretty woman. Okay, I'm done with that. I did notice, I go, she's mimicking what everybody's thinking so far. Like, this is not a very good event. So, we then go backstage to Rock with Eve, rocking around Eve Torres, and mostly everybody did. That's mean. Poor Eve Torres. And then he says, I'm going to create a WrestleMania moment. Whoever steps around this corner, tell me when they're here. Oh, yeah, they're here. And that's Mae Young. Yeah, you're a diva. It's Divasaurus. It's like your heroes, Eve, like your heroes, Adam and Eve. Age jokes. That's mean to Mae Young, though, because Zoe Stark was actually there for Mae Young's debut match. And Zoe had been there when the Abraham Lincoln Gettysburg Address was made. I mean, good goddamn grief. So Zoe was able to impart wisdom on Mae as to how to handle herself and whatever. Why did I make Zoe Stark jokes about an event that happened in 2011? Why? To what end? Anyway, Mae slaps, Rock on the ass because it was funny. Because why not? And then Austin shows up and we get Rock and Austin. Man, if only these two faced off at a WrestleMania. Oh, they faced off at 3 WrestleManias. And then we're part of the WrestleMania 30, opening segment with Hogan. Good to be back here at the Silverdome. WrestleMania 30 is going to be 10 years old next year. Barring unforeseen shit, I might actually do a retro review of that, and the fact that that's going to qualify for retro review status, and is 10 years old next year. Quickly, here are the WrestleManias that I haven't retro reviewed. 24, 26, 29, 30, and 31. I mean, I guess 32 if you want to count that, because that's the 7-year itch one. I may end up getting to where I retro review all of them. I don't know, guys. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this, because events like this may break me and make me shatter and just absolutely go insane and just review movies. So, but yes, Austin and Rock got a big pop for confronting each other backstage. CM Punk against Randy Orton from Unforgiven 08, when CM Punk got punted in the head, all the way to Rumble 2011, when Punk decided to stop and prevent Orton from winning the championship, to now. This clicked mostly. Orton had a bad knee, but the Nexus had been taken out. The new Nexus. Husky Harris, a German tank with a Ferrari engine, or a tank with a Ferrari engine. I don't actually remember how they described it. Him, Michael McGillicuddy, and who the fuck else? Who the fuck else was in? Was it Tarver? Was Tarver in that guy? Who was in the new Nexus? I'm struggling to remember. Anyway, so new Nexus is banned from ringside. Orton had a bad knee, so Punk was focusing on it. There was a big superplex to a pop. This was fine. This was cooking, as the kids say. And then Punk went for a diving clothesline, got hit with an RKO. Yay! Randy Orton won. Then Rock and Mean Gene were doing comedy. Pee Wee Herman showed up. Paul Rubens ended up, misunderstanding one of the terms from his Pee Wee's Playhouse. It was a secret word, not the secrete word. Have fun unseen that, folks. You're welcome. You're welcome for that. He maintains his innocence. You know what show that's from. I love you guys. Mean Gene came out in Cena gear because Pee Wee wanted to be the, on Team Brain It, and Mean Gene being funny. I miss Mean Gene. I miss Mean Gene so much. Hall of Fame class of 2011. Abdullah the Butcher, that piece of shit that knew who killed Bruiser Brody and didn't do anything about it. You goddamn piece of shit. Terrible wrestler. He was a great attraction. Couldn't work to save his goddamn life. Could have put goddamn quarters in his head like a goddamn arcade game. Sonny was there. When Sonny had only been in a few legal troubles, but seemed to clean herself up. And now, yes, renowned murderer, not Jimmy Snuka, but Sonny. The Road Warriors, well, Animal, rest in peace Animal, and Hawk, rest in peace Hawk. He wasn't there, he died in 2003. And Paul Ellering, precious Paul Ellering, easy for me to say. Drew Carey, who got boozed, and Drew Carey's apparently a nice guy. Yes, he was in the 2001 Royal Rumble, but Cyndi Lauper's not in the Hall of Fame. Other celebrities were not in the Hall of Fame, and fucking Drew Carey is. Shawn Michaels then also showed up. He was the headliner. Well, Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Bullet Bob Armstrong were also there. If only Bullet Bob Armstrong was still here and Road Dogg wasn't. Moving on from that, Shawn Michaels, he came out, big pop, and what was great about Shawn is he was able to keep his eyes on both sides of the stage, and Shawn Michaels then would go on to be a great teacher in NXT, which is amazing because he hasn't been able to control his pupils in 20 years. Now that I've dumped on Shawn Michaels enough as it is, let's move on to... The timestamp was around 1 hour and 39 minutes. I want you to keep that in mind. Booker T shows up. JR shows up. JR earned a contract. And they didn't utilize JR until now for this show. Now, I know he's older, and I know he had personal issues, health issues, all that stuff, but nevertheless, they show up for commentary. And then Michael Cole cuts a promo. And because Vince hates the fans. I'm going to say right now that Vince McMahon should have, honest to God, been run out of the goddamn company, like on a freaking, like just run out with torches and pitchforks for what he, foisted upon the fan. This was an abomination. Jerry Lawler comes out after Stone Cold Steve Austin almost runs Jack Swagger over. Damn shame he didn't. On his ATV, and the ATV got on the slick stage and the ramp and everything, and almost skidded out. Brilliant job there. Brilliant thinking. And then he almost runs over Cole. Cole gets in the coal mine thing, the box that he had when he was a heel commentator. Wait, it wasn't a box, it was a box-like structure. You fucking idiot, Michael Cole. And then Lawler makes his entrance to a pop. Jerry Lawler had never had a WrestleMania match to this point. I've never been a big fan of Jerry Lawler, and I've made it clear why. You can go back and check out other reviews for that. I just never have personally been a big fan of Jerry Lawler. But for what he meant to professional wrestling, especially in the South, and even in Atlanta, he worked some shows in Atlanta, mostly based out of Memphis, but bopped around here and there, worked in Florida. He had a history as far as a wrestling legend. Territorial legend, but nevertheless. It was Michael Cole who had made fun of Lawler, I believe Lawler's mother died during the build to this, and I feel bad for that. And Brian Christopher came out, that was his last appearance on WWE programming. It was not good because he didn't sound like he was in the best headspace. And the build was dog shit. But all it was going to lead to was Jerry Lawler gaining his revenge and beating Cole in 5 minutes with some shenanigans. Right? 15 pissing minutes devoted to Jerry Lawler versus Michael Cole. 15 minutes. The 8-man tag got knocked down to 90 seconds. The upcoming 6-person tag that was the semi-main in the death slot got 3.5 minutes with about 4 minutes of entrances. The women got put in a mixed tag. The Divas champion, Eve Torres, I believe Eve was the champion at the time, did not get on this card. But they gave this 15 goddamn minutes. And that was after we got 9, almost 10 minutes of video packages, entrances, shenanigans, Michael Cole stalling. Stone Cold Steve Austin was a special guest referee for this. Stone Cold Steve Austin, one of the biggest stars that WWE has ever had. And also somebody who beat 2 of his wives. That is something that needs to be mentioned. And the fact that people tend to overlook that, saying, oh, we need to clean up wrestling, or we need to remember what the wrestlers did, and yeah, Austin beat 2 of his wives. One doesn't just simply go back to the UK just because she wants to, go back home. Maybe there was a reason. She may have been a bitch, but maybe Austin probably absolutely did that. And also Deborah. All that shit. But anyway, Jack Swagger, by the way, who, now Jake Hager, terrible talent, gifted athletically and boring as fuck, and has been ripping off AEW for a paycheck for the last almost 4 years. So, he went from being the world champion right after WrestleMania 26. And he was a world champion for a couple months. So, into the early summer, he was a world champion, and now he's a corner guy. And that's it. Then he would actually be in a match against Alberto Del Rio, but of course we already knew that at WrestleMania 29. I'm not going to try to talk about, any moves in this match, because Michael Cole, yes, he was a commentator. Yes, he was put in a position where he was trying to be an over-the-top heel and everything. The thing is he wasn't talented enough, and has never been talented enough to do that. Bad comedy with the coal mine, they kept pulling him, Lawler kept pulling him and pushing his face up and everything, and damn shame he didn't just bash him repeatedly until he passed out. Do it in front of his wife and child. That's what they deserve to see for associating with that goddamn piece of shit. And the GM podium and all that, the anonymous Raw general manager, that storyline was absolute bullshit. They made Hornswoggle the anonymous GM. further cementing the fact that short people in wrestling have been fucking stupid for a while. That's mean. There's nothing that they did wrong. This match pissed me off. This match made me wish that wrestling had never been invented. How dare you, Vince McMahon? How dare you exist, Michael Cole? So, Swagger interferes, and then Austin was taking no shit from Cole, not wanting to count Lawler out very fast. The crowd was not into this. The crowd laid into this as far as, well, they were bored, and then they were chained for other stuff. This went up 15 minutes. 15 goddamn minutes, or maybe just under 15, but it felt like 15 goddamn years. Austin hit the start of Swagger when Swagger tried to throw in the towel, and then shoves Cole, which factors into the finish. Lawler then beats him up and gets an ankle lock for the victory, and Cole's tapping out like a goddamn drunken sailor, or like somebody that's being shocked repeatedly. Damn shame they didn't actually hook up a battery cable like Kane did to Shane, but actually legit shock him. That would have been such a shame if they had done that. And he's like, do you give up? Do you give up? And then he tapped out and everything. He was probably saying that to Deborah when he was beating her. And then, beer celebration. Booker does a spin-a-rooney and then gets stunnered. Beer celebration, and the anonymous Raw GM comes in. Matthews reads it, because we need more Josh fucking Matthews on this show. The decision's reversed. Cole wins, because Austin put his hands on one of the people. 30 minutes of pay-per-view time. Then he stuns Josh Matthews, and then more of a beer celebration. This 30 minutes of pay-per-view goddamn time. God, I wish Vince's limo explosion had been legit after this. Anyway, video package on Triple H and Undertaker. For whom the bell tolls, dubbed over. Triple H has a bunch of Roman guards or guards from the 300. Guards from the 300. And then Taker gets a very lengthy entrance. This was about 10 minutes of entrances. And it made sense because these are two big stars. Two people that the fans love. Undertaker, who is one of the best of all time and also has proven himself to be a goddamn narrow-minded prick that I will continue to say. And Triple H, who is not a genius, stop the Papa H stuff. You're weird. And this is me saying that you're all goddamn weird. So, Triple H versus Undertaker, no holds barred. Controversial time. I never cared for this match. I will explain why. This was 30 minutes when it could have been 20. Yes, they laid the shit in. And yes, they did their stuff. But Shawn versus Taker needed 30 minutes at Mania 25. And needed close to 30 minutes, or maybe just over 30 minutes at Mania 26. I don't remember the exact runtime. I haven't seen it for a while. This didn't. Triple H would always be the guy to work with the top guy, but never be the top guy. Whenever he was the top guy, it wasn't really all that great. He's a big star, but he's not as great as he thinks he is. My opinion. If you guys think that Triple H is great, that's fantastic. But there's one fan that yelled at one point, break his neck, Triple H. Harsh. I say as somebody that was basically calling for the evisceration of a few people during this review. Michael Cole, the coal mine just collapses, prolapses as it were. This match is prolapsing. And have fun on seeing that. We get a backdrop on the floor, spinebuster through the announcer's table, the Spanish announcer's table. And then a chair shot to the head. I believe Triple H got fined for that. And then numerous chair shots, big moves, pedigrees, 3 pedigrees, kick out. Stay down, stay down. I'm rushing through this because this match really, to me, dragged on. Yes, it was Triple H wanting to get revenge for Shawn Michaels, but I'm sorry, the drama just wasn't there. This felt like forced drama. To me, it felt like forced drama. And eventually, the sledgehammer gets brought out. Why don't you call his name? Hell's Gate, and Triple H passes out. Well, taps out. Just he probably taps out like Nancy and Daniel did. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Atlanta and all that. Well, that was actually Gainesville, but nevertheless, I'm just being mean-spirited during this because I just don't give a good goddamn. This event, I will never watch this event again. I will never watch this again. This is the only time I'm going to retro review, so I'm just going to unleash on everything. So, this did lead to Mania 28. Triple H was not good, not in good condition. Taker got taken out on one of those football carts that they had. Because Georgia Dome, so they had those there. And then Vicky introduces Dolphin Lake-Cool. Speaking of people that never deserve to be in wrestling, Vicky, Dolphin Lake-Cool, you know what, put Michelle McCool in the goddamn Hall of Fame. Why the hell not? Dolph is there. This is Dolph Ziggler. being used just in preliminary matches that don't really mean it. I mean, yes, it was a semi-main, but it was a death slot nobody cared about. So it's Dolphin Lay Cool against John Morrison, Trish Stratus making her return to WWE after about 4.5 years, because she retired at Unforgiven in 2006. Made one appearance, I think, on the 15th anniversary of Raw in December of 2007. It actually wasn't the 15th anniversary. They were about a month early, but nevertheless. And Snooki from Jersey Shore. Now, I didn't like Snooki being involved in this, but you know what? She at least took it seriously. Hit a horrible finish, but she took it seriously. I'll give her credit for that. Morrison wanted nothing to do with Trish, because Trish should have not been in it, and it should have been Melina. And that's the rumor. I mean, I don't know, but you could tell there was a little bit of tension there. A little bit of tension. Yeah, this match wasn't much of anything. Flip and a horrible splash, 1, 2, 3. The match was shit, but it wasn't going to be anything good. The crowd did pop for Snooki. Miz got a big entrance with the inflatable letter saying, "Awesome." Alex Riley was in his corner. Look up what Alex Riley did in a recent NWA pay-per-view to see how the mighty have fallen. Cena got a big old entrance with a choir and a video package and whoop-a-doo-da-da-da-da. Okay, this match is only really noteworthy. It's for WWE Championship. It's only noteworthy for the fact it was a basic match until they did the finish outside over the barricade, and Miz took a header and busted his head in the concrete and got a legit concussion. He has mentioned in interviews he doesn't remember anything about this, even seeing the video footage, and seeing the look in his eyes afterwards, yeah, you could definitely tell that he was out. I've had a few concussions. Anybody that's had a concussion or a head injury that's rattled you, you have that faraway look, you don't know where you're at, it hurts, the lights hurt, a bunch of stuff hurts. That's why I have to wear sunglasses when I go outside, usually when it's sunny out, because it still hurts my head to this day. And the fact that Miz was able to even be able to walk after this was a miracle. The Rock comes out, and he restarts the match. He says, "Oh, Anonymous Raw GM, you can kiss my ass. Doesn't matter what you say. Restarts the match, no DQ. Cena gets Miz in the ring. Rock hits Cena with a rock bottom, and Miz covers him 1, 2, 3. And then Rock decides to lay Miz out with some punches and a spine buster, which had to help the concussion all that well, or all that much. People double, and there you go. Rock celebrates, and the main event of WrestleMania, did anybody remember the Miz won? Only the record books. Also, Miz's WWE title reign wasn't all that bad, but nevertheless, this show was shit. Shit. Ah! Agree, disagree, what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.